Pues bueno, hi, welcome. So nice to have you here.
Thank you for having us.
Have you been enjoying your visit?
Too much. I've enjoyed. Mexico knows how to party. I can't lie. They have a lot of good food and good wine.
Yeah,
and,
it's all a big party.
No sleep, and it's a good time.
Yeah, nice to have you here. So I guess we have some questions from the press, and I'm going to be making those questions for you guys. We're going to start with Argentina. This question comes from Argentina. Cinefan Girls, Argentina, Mariquela Calvo Ford, pregunta que mandó online, y this question is for Jennifer Lopez. In Atlas, you portray a cunning and formidable woman. Which iconic female characters from science fiction films inspired your creation of this role?
I mean, I think there was two very specific ones, and actually one of them I remember, and I didn't think about it when I was doing Atlas, but Terminator 2 with Linda Hamilton. I don't know if you guys remember that film, but for me, she was the baddest of the baddest bitches ever. You know what I mean? Like, I just remember being in the theater, watching it in New York, like, oh my God, I want to be her so bad. I'm going to be an actress, and that's what I'm going to do. And I didn't really ever get to do it when I was younger, and so now to be able to do something like it, it's not exactly that, but that type of character. The other character that I really loved and that Brad and I spoke about very much while we were filming was Ripley in Alien, Sigourney Weaver. So those two for me were the most iconic kind of sci-fi action movie characters that...
One of the reasons why I love Cameron, right, is Aliens, where he works with Sigourney, and then Hamilton and Terminator, and the tone that he makes and how awesome he makes female badass women. You're just like, that guy's the greatest at doing this. And so yeah, those are the two excellent touchstones.
What about you, Simu? Did you get inspiration from any science fiction characters?
Yeah, I mean, playing Harlan as an artificial intelligence, I think there's a lot of blueprints out there. I think starting from Kubrick in 2001, even like the voice of Hal, who is so kind of even-keeled and chilling. And then, I was a huge Star Trek fan growing up, so I loved Brent Spiner as Data. I thought was phenomenal, and so I just tried to take, although those are all kind of friendly AIs, but I tried to take that voice and that kind of friendly disposition and kind of warp it in a way to make it unsettling and a little terrifying.
Yeah, that even tone is the thing that is kind of the scary.
That and the blue eyes, because I don't know if people know this, but Simu had contacts on the whole time, and he only told me after like 2 days, he's like, I can't really see you, Brad. And I was like, oh, so that's why you're staring through me.
So intense, I was just like...
He's just staring through everybody.
On set every day, like... and they were like, oh, that's good, keep doing it. And I was like, okay.
Bueno, la pregunta era que en qué personajes se habían inspirado para sus papeles, personajes de ciencia ficción, y Jennifer dice que se inspiró mucho en Sarah Connor de Terminator 2 y también en el personaje de Sigourney Weaver en Alien, que fue algo que platicaron también con Brad, el director, como que estuvieron ambos de acuerdo que estos, ¿no? Que son maravillosos los personajes superdadas, personajes femeninos. Y Simu dice que es muy fan de Star Trek, entonces se fue mucho por allá, y también habló de Odisea en el espacio. Fueron como que aunque son inteligencia artificial buena onda y su personaje no es tan buena onda, pero bueno, que tomó inspiración de por allá. La siguiente pregunta viene de Editorial Televisa. Eurídice Garavito García pregunta para Jennifer Lopez. What challenges does humanity face regarding artificial intelligence? What aspects of new technologies do you find most surprising?
I mean, technology is advancing all the time, and obviously there's a lot of it that makes me nervous. I mean, when you think about artificial intelligence, and even this movie itself kind of does a good job of showing both sides of the story, which is kind of what can go really, really right with AI and how we can really use them to be a greater version of ourselves in a way, and then how it can go really, really wrong with like Simu's character, where they can destroy and take over and kind of obliterate humanity. So I think right now, for me, when I think about it, it's a big question, right? There's an idea of like, we have to have a lot of respect when it comes to artificial intelligence. It's just like any technology. I remember in the music business when the internet came around and everybody was like, oh, it's never gonna take over music. And I was like, okay, well that happened. And so you just have to really be open to the fact that there's gonna be changes all the time, and not changes that some people can predict and some people just can't foresee because we get so stuck in our own reality. But yeah, I think it's about respecting it and not letting it kind of take over in any way, but using it to aid us in the best ways that it can.
It's all about balance.
Of course.
Bueno, tenemos una pregunta de Brasil, fan influencia, es de Diogo Cunha, y the question's for Jennifer Lopez. With an impressive career and numerous films to your credit, do you still experience those famous butterflies in your stomach when working on projects like the new Netflix film, Atlas?
I have butterflies right now. I always have butterflies. I don't think, it ever gets old to me, no matter how long I've been in this business. I always feel the excitement of doing what I do and being able to be blessed to do what I do. For me, it is a huge, privilege to be able to find something so young that I was so passionate about in entertaining and performing and singing and dancing and acting and producing, and be able to be doing that my whole life. And so, yes, I still get butterflies. I'm more at home, actually, believe it or not, on stage in front of, 30,000 people than I am in a room like this. You know what I mean? I'm more at home on the set, in a little 2x2 with a green screen behind me, and make believing I'm falling through the planets.
I can attest to that.
Acting crazy and, have my adrenaline at 100 and really acting and, just putting myself in another realm. I feel very comfortable in those situations, I guess because I've been doing it a long time.
I think it shows. I mean, I think we were, you remember on our content day when we were reviewing your Super Bowl footage, and I was just like, you're one of the best to ever do it, period.
What about you, Simu? Do you still get those butterflies?
Yeah, I feel really at home when I'm on stage in front of the Super Bowl, 75,000 fans, yeah. I think what Jen said really rings true. I think, I think the butterflies never really go away, but I think I think as artists, and certainly as performers, I think find a way to be excited by the butterflies and to use that kind of nervous energy, and to embrace it in a way. I think some of the greatest actors I've ever known and ones I look up to experience terrible stage fright and nervousness and anxiety, and it's not the lack of those things that allows them to be great. It's that they accept it and then they embrace it and then they work through it, which I think is pretty incredible.
And what happens as a director? Do you still get butterflies?
Yes, I came from animation. I sit in a room by myself and draw pictures. That's like my background. So when you go to a set and there's 400 people that want your opinion, it's a little bit nerve-wracking, but just to add on to what they said, generally I think those butterflies are because you care so much, right? Like if you didn't have that, something would be wrong. Like you need to have that. It means you've invested so much, you care so much, and it's sort of like your body's preparation to like pour your heart out into something, I think is what happens. But one of the things that both of them said that is 100% true is the sooner you can get into the flow state, the better. The more at home you are, like as a creative who wakes up every day and all I want to do is create, like literally, you can ask my girlfriend, I drive her crazy. I would wake up and I just want to go make something. And when you get in that flow state,
you can make her breakfast in bed.
Dude, I don't want to poison her. I am not good at cooking. I'll do everything.
You can make her a cup of coffee.
There you go. I do that. But like once you get in that flow state, it's like that's what you live for, being that creator and being in that creative state. And so, yeah, once you get in that space, you never want to leave it. It's so addicting. You're like, this is what I was built to do. I love doing this.
So I think if you don't get the butterflies, maybe that means you're AI or a robot. You should check. Tenemos ahora una pregunta de Brasil, de Estación Nerd, y Caro Rodríguez pregunta para Simu.
Whoa, really?
Yes, you got your own question.
That for me?
Para ti, from Brazil. What is it like to work with Jennifer Lopez, who is often regarded as the premier action actress of our century?
It's amazing. The question was, what is it like to work with Jennifer Lopez, one of the most iconic performers of our generation and of all time.
I'm sorry.
It was great. You know, I remember one of the first days I showed up to set, and you know, my part in the movie, you know, as a villain, you know, I come in a little bit later, but I come to set and I'm like, hey Jen, how are you? You know, she was so like, she just seemed like such a trooper in that little canopy where she and Smith resided for so much of the movie, you know, and I was like, hey, how's it going? She's like, I've been here for 6 weeks. How are you? And I'm like, well, I have no right to complain. I mean, no, it was awesome. It was awesome. It was inspirational. I definitely had butterflies, you know, showing up to set, knowing that I was gonna have to work with her. In my mind, she's always made in Manhattan, Jen. So it was tough for me to get into the mindset of trying to kill her. It was very not what I would say would be my natural state, but it was incredible. It was incredible, and I've so appreciated getting to know her better over the course of even promoting this movie as well.
Been so fun. Thank you.
In my mind, you're dancing to Fiona Apple in Hustlers.
Right now?
For a minute. Okay.
I go out of sight. I'm out of sight, Jennifer
Are
Lopez.
you out of sight? Made in Manhattan Hustlers. Got it.
Yes.
Maybe spring into the cell. I love the cell too.
So there's a question for you, Brad, as well.
Wait, what's it like working with Jennifer
It is
Lopez?
not what's like with Jennifer Lopez. Your filmography reveals a strong focus on exploring nature. What inspired the shift to create a film centered around artificial intelligence?
I do love nature. I'm an avid hiker. I hike probably 2 or 3 times a week, so that just grounds me. I like being out and with just my thoughts, and a lot of rumination happens for me in that. I grew up on a highway outside of a town. Like, I didn't even have neighbors as a kid, so that's just like my natural state, I guess. But in all honesty, I didn't set out to make a movie about AI. What attracted me to this, besides working with Jen and Simu and Sterling, who couldn't be here today, was the theme of trust. I believe most of our meaningful relationships in our lives are built off respect and trust. And I think you can earn someone's respect relatively easily, but trust is something that I've found difficult to earn with people, and also to have them earn from me. And so I was fascinated with this idea of this woman who just didn't trust, and for valid reasons. She has childhood trauma she has to overcome, but that's what pulled me in. The complexity of it, the fact that she had been sort of, you know, abused by this AI and then was stuck in a machine that was run by AI. The irony of that made me smile when I read the concept. I was like, oh, that's really neat. And as a genre fan, and you can go all the way back to like James Whale in the 1920s, or like Creature from the Black Lagoon or King Kong. These are all genre films that are talking about things that were faux pas. You weren't allowed to talk about interracial relationships. You weren't allowed to have those conversations. So for me, using genre to dress up a movie about something that's like very heartfelt, very human, like our ability to trust and what we have to go through to trust, that's what I think makes great genre. So I can have explosions, and I can have alien ships, and I can have giant mech suits, but there's a super human element and theme in the movie, and that's really what pulled me in.
I like that.
You're welcome. Long-winded, but whatever.
So we have a question from Nueva Mujer, Karen Hernandez. She's right here, I think. And the question is for Jennifer Lopez. This film blends science fiction and action with a deep emotional core. How do you tap into Atlas' emotions and motivations to bring her character to life?
I mean, it's just like with anything when you're approaching it as an actress, you know, you try to find the similarities to things that you have, you know, gone through in your own life, but also kind of your imagination, especially in a movie like this where there's tons of green screen, your imagination has to kind of run wild. And that's a big part of being an actor. And I think with Atlas, there was parts of her that were very similar to me. She's driven, she's strong, she's focused, she's passionate. And then there was parts of her that were very different from me. I wear my heart on my sleeve, and she was very closed off and didn't want to let anybody in. And it was just, for me, preparing for that and doing that, it was something that was very easy for me to kind of draw from my own life in a way. Different relationships and different things that I've been through, for sure.
One of the things too that I've mentioned to people, like, you have a lot of great virtues, but courage is probably the one that stood out for me, in the sense that, like, you were put inside of a mech suit by yourself for like 6 or 7 weeks, and a lot of actors or actresses would not be comfortable in that situation. But because you go out in front of stadiums of people as the lead, it's sort of like prepared you for a role like that, where you could just step out there and be like, okay, I can do
Yeah,
this.
it's like it was like being on stage and doing a one-woman show for 6 or 7 weeks. It was a strange experience. I think a lot of actors would tell you that you know, doing that kind of role where you're by yourself and having to imagine all that stuff is a challenging thing.